So, hi everybody. I am very excited and happy to introduce you to Dan Brunette from the Ottawa Community Foundation, who does fantastic work. And when he's not on holidays, which he is right now, and he very kindly agreed to being interviewed today, which I really appreciate. Thank you very much, Dan.
My pleasure.
That's great. And I want to start with asking you, what in a nutshell would be the most important thing for you to share for people to know who the Ottawa Community Foundation is?
Well, the Ottawa Community Foundation is basically we're a public charitable foundation that's there to enable philanthropy. So we make philanthropy easy for donors to give, charities to receive money. We manage assets that are earmarked for the greater good of the community, and we have intimate community knowledge. So we have a pretty good idea of what's going on with everybody all the time.
That's perfect. That's great. And we have a panel coming up at the end of March, on March 28th, Wednesday, and you very kindly agreed to be a member of that panel, along with two financial advisors, Lee Mosley and Sonia Leroy. And you and I have chatted a little bit back and forth, so I would like you to comment on, why do you think people should attend this event, attend this panel? What are the gems that people are going to get from going there, going to the event?
Well, specifically, as we know in the charitable sector, as a not-for-profit sector as a whole, relationships are key to everything we do. And donor advised funds are a growing trend. They're taking the place often of standalone private foundations. So it's very, very important for people to understand how they work, how they don't work, and find the best way to engage with entities, be they banks or other financial institutions that have donor advised funds, or in our case, the community foundation.
Mm-hmm. And Dan, with so I know that Sonia and Lee are going to tell some stories, because I've heard their stories, and because of hearing the stories they've told about how they use donor advised funds, it's really helped to expand my ability to share with clients how and the benefits of donor advised funds. So most people are very surprised and didn't even realize that they existed, which is part of the reason why we're having this event. Are there any stories that you feel really touched you significantly around using donor advised funds?
Oh, well, how long is the interview?
2 minutes.
The reality is that we have about 900 funds at the Ottawa Community Foundation. There's close to 600 of those that are donor advised. But that when you know one story behind a donor advised fund, you only know one story behind a donor advised fund. Every one of them has a family or individuals or groups that come together for a common cause or interest theme area. Again, to go into detail would require a very, very long time. If there's one comment I can make, is that in our case with the Ottawa Community Foundation, there's really three ways that people use their donor advised funds. The first is they're either very prescriptive and come to us with a charity they already have in mind, and in which case it's more of a transactional relationship where we make sure that the charity has charitable status, they're not being accused of fraud, some basic things like that. But where we could play a role is that many donors come to us either because they want to be anonymous or they want a chance to understand the community without having the need to run around or have a standalone application process. So when we have hundreds of applications that come in and they're vetted by our grants committee, we can then share snapshots of those with the donors according to their interest fields, which means that they can actually participate in a community granting stream without having to do much more than look at and be inspired by some of the great projects that are going on. And about 75% of all the community grant applications that come in are actually picked up by donor advised funds, which people don't necessarily understand. And the third one is donors can actually come to us and ask us to find projects that meet a very specific niche interest, be it an environmental request around a certain part of town or an area, or it can be, like breakfast or homework clubs that are going out around the city. So all of those can come to play, and those are basically the main three ways. And we have 8 to 10 million that goes out per year, so we have quite a stable of ideas and stories that we could share.
Wonderful, wonderful. And as I listen to you, I think in terms of how you really do you do a lot of work. I know you're always looking at the past, but I've had clients who are interested in a particular area, and you've been extremely helpful around helping to navigate that and helping to, simplify it, if you will. Dan, just a last couple of questions. One is, are you finding from a trend point of view that people are more interested in, or becoming more increasingly interested in the impact they can have via their donations?
Oh, absolutely. The days of the trust in large institutions, to just blindly do some good work. Although those entities still exist, donors nowadays, you really want to be more specific or targeted in their impact areas, and that means that with communications and technology being what it is, they also expect a much quicker turnaround in terms of stories and impact and data around the sector as well. So yeah, absolutely, I would agree with you. That's definitely a trend. That being said, the donors still, for the most part, like to have sort of a hands-on approach and cherry pick their charities. But we also see more and more donors, turning to peers or charities they work with and encouraging them to be either a bit more strategic or a bit more bigger picture thinking, because so many charities are day in, day out, sort of head to the ground and working away, that if we can step back and see all the great work that a similar organization is doing a couple of blocks down or in another city, and that can inform your best practices as well and bring some new pilot projects to Ottawa.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and we're looking forward to hearing more about the trends and more from you on the panel the end of this month. Is there anything, I'll give you the last word, is there anything else you'd like to sum up with saying and sharing with people?
Well, specifically in terms of the Ottawa Community Foundation, we exist to give out money. We need charities' help to do that. So yes, do always apply to the structured community grant process that people are very familiar with. But make sure that the Community Foundation is not just seen as a grant maker, but as a message multiplier as well. So whether it's making sure we know your AGM when it's happening, so we can possibly attend, or if you have a groundbreaking or an unveiling, basically share with the Community Foundation what's going on, what are your priorities, and that way we can possibly bring that up to the attention of people that are not on your radar. So,
that's excellent. And I love that notion of message multiplier. And I think that there's so much that the Ottawa Community Foundation and other community foundations, because I'm also in Kingston, that you do such great things. And so this panel will be fantastic for people to come and learn more about what it is that the foundation does, and more stories about how people can use donor advised funds and the trends that are happening. So thank you, Dan, for taking your time from your holidays in order to have this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.